Welcome back, Truth Seeker. I want to talk about the destruction of the Georgia Guidestones in light of eugenicist Robert Carter Cook, who died at the very beginning of 1991. And Rambo, who joins us pretty much every Wednesday night on Truth Frequency Radio, he just put out a recent video on the destruction of the Georgia Guidestones, and he brought up the possibility that the name R.C. Christian is in tribute to Robert Carter Cook, which would make sense because the Guidestones have to do with eugenics and population management, and that's what Robert Carter Cook's legacy was about. And Rambo's not the first person to propose this. For as long as I've been aware of the Guidestones, a lot of people have thought that's who R.C. Christian actually is. And what's awesome about the research we do, Gematria, is it's the closest thing to proof you're going to find in this world without knowing the people who actually know that, yes, R.C. Christian was a pseudonym for Robert Carter Cook. And I'm surprised Rambo didn't say something in his video. We're going to watch part of Rambo's video, but you should go over to his channel and make sure you're subscribed and watch it yourself. We will watch part of it, though, in this stream. But Rambo skipped the fact that Robert Carter Cook has gematria of 187, and these were destroyed on the 187th day of the year, July 6th, 2022. And I told you there'd be big news on July 6th this year, 201 days after the Pope's birthday. There often is, but again, things are heating up this year. And then the Georgia Guidestones, these monuments about eugenics, which is a huge topic at this moment, and most people aren't even seeing it, even though it's in the entertainment they're watching nonstop. It's amazing that almost everybody right now is watching zombie shows and apocalyptic movies, and they're not thinking about, the people who give us this entertainment and the people who want us to think about these things, and why for the last 20 years there's been all these movies forecasting a bleak future for the people of the world. And 1 second before I go any further. Forgot to do something. Would have drove Sweet Lady insane. But anyway, 187th day of the year. If you're new here, Gematria, it comes from Kabbalah. It's the simple practice of coding numbers into words. The most simple cipher is A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, F is 6, up to Z, the 26 letters, 26, just turning the alphabetic order, letters to numbers. And if you use that cipher, the name Robert Carter Cook equals 187. You're welcome to try it out. I guarantee you it's correct. R's the 18th letter, O's the 15th, B's the 2nd, E's the 5th. You just add it up. Robert Carter Cook, 187. And this is a very special number to certain secret societies who are into this kind of knowledge. And, of course, you have these Guidestones that were secretive. And I want to go through all of this here. I'm debating on showing Rambo's video first or going through what I got. Well, we'll go through what I got, and then we'll watch Rambo's part, and it'll complement everything that I show here. And Rambo also found something really interesting, that there was a woman who ran for office in the May 24th primary who ran solely on tearing down the Georgia Guidestones. And that was 43 days before their demise at 4:03 in the morning on number 43's birthday, who's a member of Skull and Bones, the Brotherhood of Death. By the way, if you were looking at those other phrases up here with 187, Brotherhood of Death is the number, is what Skull and Bones refers to itself as, who identifies by the number 322, and these monuments in Georgia that came down on the 187th day of the year, they were put up in history on 3/22, March 22nd. And Skull and Bones is part of the fraternal order of secret societies going back to Bavaria and the Illuminati, and they're modeled after the Knights Templar who serve the Catholic Church, which is where the Holy Roman Empire is alive and well. And right here in America as well, which is controlled by that same Roman Catholic Church. A lot of people don't see that either, even though it couldn't be any more obvious. But if you've missed the work we've done on the Georgia Guidestones, everything we had before, plus what Rambo just had, plus what we're all about to add right now, what Rambo has in his video that you haven't seen yet, unless you have, what I've already covered in the 4 or 5 videos I put out on this, and what we're about to bring tonight, it would be interesting to bring this evidence before a court to see how they would rule. I'd want a trial with a jury. Because, again, this is going to be about as concrete evidence as you're ever going to get that R.C. Christian is the same eugenicist we're talking about right now. So let's go through it. Okay, again, they were destroyed July 6th, 7/6, the 187th day of the year on George W. Bush's 76th birthday. And it was also Daniel Coit Gilman's birthday, who also went to Skull and Bones and founded the Johns Hopkins University in Maryland. And the man, Robert Carter Cook, notice he died in Maryland. He's from close by. He was born in D.C., the independent city-state that's right there between Virginia and Maryland, like Virgin Mary. And he died in Maryland, up by where Johns Hopkins is, which is connected to Daniel Coit Gilman, who was also born July 6th. And in addition to Bush being number 43, remember, it would have been Daniel Coit Gilman's 191st birthday, which is the 43rd prime number. And Yale in Gematria equals 43, where Skull and Bones is. And again, if you look into Yale and Skull and Bones, they have a lot of influence in the history of the hospital chains in this nation. And this man right here, Robert Carter Cook, he was big on eugenics through the use of medicine and things like birth control. Again, maintaining the population. So in Gematria, when you write out Skull and Bones, it equals 76, to go with the 7/6 date. When you write out Daniel Coit Gilman, it equals 76. When you write out the pseudonym R.C. Christian, it equals 76. Also, when you write out astronomical, which the Georgia Guidestones were in two ways. One of the definitions of astronomical is a device that's used for astronomy purposes. The Guidestones were built in a way that they had phenomenon. The stones were cut in the middle. If you look through them at certain times, you saw certain astronomical features, if you will. And also astronomical means large. These things were huge. 19 feet 3 inches tall, 10 commandments etched out, in 10 different languages. So they were astronomical. That word also equals 76. And don't forget, at the beginning of this year, after Georgia won the championship, I pointed out the riddle with Charlie Daniels, who sang The Devil Went Down to Georgia, a song that came out in 79, which is also when the plot was bought to put up the Guidestones in 79. And as we'll get to, if you're new here, Gematria is based on 4 key ciphers. The alphabetic order, which we talked about, where Robert Carter Cook is 187. The next most important cipher is the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. Robert Carter Cook equals 79 when you use numerology instead of 187. And so does Knights Templar and Society of Jesus and Christianity. And again, all of this fits in with the Templar tradition and the Holy Roman Empire going back to the Catholic Church. But anyhow, The Devil Went Down to Georgia, song that came out in 79. The man who sung that song, he died on July 6th. And we brought this up at the beginning of the year because actually before the beginning of the year, we predicted before week 2 of last year's college football season that Georgia would beat Alabama, giving Alabama their 25th loss versus Georgia on the Pope's 25th day of his age, the date the championship game was scheduled for, because Pope equals 25 and Devil equals 25 and Earth equals 25, and there's an article out there about how Pope Francis is obsessed with the devil. You can also look into how Pope Francis, the only Super Bowl he ever blessed, was Super Bowl 51, where the Falcons from Georgia gave up a 25-point lead on 2/5 to the good Catholic Tom Brady in the 97th NFL season, which is the 25th prime number. But anyway, Charlie Daniels, The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Huge 25 rituals with the Pope, football, college, and pro in Georgia. And there's more to the story. But anyway, if you go back and watch what I was talking about in January, I was talking about how Charlie Daniels' song came out the same year that the Georgia Guidestones went up. Go back and watch that video from after Georgia won the championship and we confirmed what we predicted earlier in the year. So anyway, he died the same day, 7/6, right? And this is what we're talking about for people who are new here. You learn this study, you see how long the rituals are planned out. You know, you can see this perfectly with the Roe v. Wade decision getting Roe v. Wade getting overturned 49 years and a few months later in light of the name Henry Wade equaling 49 in Gematria, like Washington, like America, and like the fact that Jane Roe died on the 49th day of the year right after Trump became president, who put in the 3 Supreme Court justices who kept or who helped overturn it. And it's like 9/11 in 1968, 33 years before 9/11. By the way, as we'll get to, this man right here, he retired from his eugenics work in 1968. This guy, Robert Carter Cook, retired from his eugenics work in 1968. But again, 1968 is the year fentanyl was approved, which is killing a lot of people right here now. It's the year coronavirus was coined. We know what's happened because of coronavirus. It's the year that 911 became the national emergency dialing code. World Trade Center construction began in New York. George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. So as George W. Bush, as a young man getting out of the secret society 322, when these things are put up on 322, this guy's getting out of eugenics. And think about eugenics in light of what's been going on. This is a world order, right? All this needless war and killing in the Middle East. Both Bushes. I remember when we were in school, I'm pretty sure we were in middle school when we had to read the article about how in the Middle East, because of the warfare and the involvement of the militaries of the U.S. and Russia and other Western powers, that so many children in the Middle East were growing up with no parents, and especially not a father, and like how low the average age was of the citizen in some of these countries compared with other parts of the world, because pretty much all the adults had mostly been killed off. I just remember being blown away by that when I was a child, but now I just look back at all this and I think these people are sick psychopaths. And again, you guys, Skull and Bones is modeled after the Knights Templar, which had the crusades in the Middle East against the Muslims. Think about this. But anyway, again, Robert Carter Cook, the thing blows up on the 187th day of the year. Is he RC Christian? Again, he went to George Washington University. George Washington, in the White House, built by the black slaves. Look out, darker complected people. George Washington, 187, who helped genocide those darker complected Native Americans that already lived here, who don't really count in the history books. Their genocide's not worthy of a Christmas holiday movie. Only the one from World War II. But anyway, George Washington, 187, right? That's where Robert Carter Cook went to school. George Washington University, born in D.C. And don't forget, in Gematria, Society of Jesus, Unconquered Sun, Washington, D.C., Paris, France, where the Jesuits are originally from, they all equal 187. Big number with this gang. And Robert Carter Cook, he died on the 274th day of his age. The Jesuit motto, Isus hominum salvator, equals 274. Again, they've celebrated the birthday of the unconquered sun since 274 AD. This was an astronomical structure, right? Everything up there revolves around the sun, at least so we're told. So think about how all this makes sense. A huge ritual with time and astrology and numerology, and how we've been talking about how they synced all this stuff up in the 16th century. Again, in the 16th century, you get the Gregorian calendar, you get English standardized with the 26-letter alphabet, you get the heliocentric model, and you get the more updated astrology, no longer the 13 signs, it's now 12 to go with the 12 months of the year. And again, Rambo in his piece, he's going to get into St. Andrew's Cross, and, one of those points is right at Cancer, the time of this ritual. Remember, Cancer's the fourth sign in astrology. Georgia's the fourth state. 4 is the number of death. Those monuments were in tribute to how a lot of people need to die to get down to 500 million, but they blew up just after 4 in the morning, right? And again, Cancer's the fourth sign. In Gematria, Cancer equals 44 like Georgia. In my last book, Number Games, just like in my first book, Letters and Numbers, I always write about the Georgia Guidestones. Let me just read what I wrote. It's right here on page 102. So last book, pretty soon it'll be my second to last book. But I'm talking about the Event 201 in Cladex simulations. And I point out how in the Cladex simulation, I write as many as 900 million people die. I bring this up because in the Cladex simulation, as many as 900 million people die worldwide, what is said to be 12% of the world's population. If you compare this loss of life to what is projected on the Georgia Guidestones, it's minimal. Those massive stone monuments call for reducing the world's population to 500 million, what the Earth's population was prior to the Industrial Age. And to put it in perspective, More than 13 out of 14 living people would have to die for the mark to be achieved based on the statistic that more than 7 billion people are currently living on Earth. If you're not familiar with the Georgia Guidestones, I encourage you to research them. You'll find that they were placed where they are in Elberton, Georgia, March 22nd, 1980. That date can be expressed as 3/22, not unlike 322 or 22/3. And blah, 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 blah. But, yeah, from looking more into this man today, I see a lot more to the significance of the stones being 19 feet tall because the eugenics movement began in the 19th century. And think about that with COVID-19. And a lot of those things being put there on March 22nd, don't forget that Bill Gates, who comes from a family into eugenics, including his father, who's behind Planned Parenthood, who was an ally of this man right here, Robert Carter Cook. Don't forget when Bill Gates' father died, he died 322 days after his birthday. 322, Skull and Bones, Brotherhood of Death, stones projecting big death. But okay, again, Robert Carter Cook from the Maryland area dies in Maryland, and the day that the Guidestones came down, again, you had this perfect ritual. George W. Bush's 76th birthday, who used to run the Texas Rangers, where year after year we're showing you the Skull and Bones rituals with the Rangers. This year they pick up their 43rd loss on number 43's birthday, the day the Guidestones come down at 4:03 a.m., or at least the destruction happens then they demolished them later that day. But the Orioles also picked up their 403rd win against the Rangers all time. 403rd win. Again, Daniel Coit Gilman from Skull and Bones founded Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. By the way, if you read out the Johns Hopkins University, it equals 322. But Daniel Coit Gilman on this day, Baltimore connection. Same with Robert Carter Cook. By the way, the word cook equals 44 as well, like Georgia, like genocide. And hold on, did I even read the part? Maybe I didn't read far enough down. It's on a later page. I bring up the Georgia Guidestones a few times in the book, but eventually I get to the concern about when they'll become 44 years old. And I guess now technically they won't exactly become 44 years old because they're not here, but there will be the 44th anniversary of them being unveiled, and that's still the time frame that I'm concerned about. And a part of me wonders if that's why they're getting rid of them, to make things less obvious. Because, like I said, you guys, I mean, there's a reason that this month they're putting out that new that new suicide hotline, and they're putting it out by the numbers. The name of the line, if I remember right, equals 168, and they're putting it out on the day, leaving 168 days left in the year. Yeah, I think that's correct. And again, it's because we're living out a planned agenda. And what's been etched in stone for a long time is part of that plan is to get rid of a lot of people. And remember, at the beginning of COVID, the experts were on TV predicting that as many people would die from suicide because of the consequences of the pandemic as the actual pandemic themselves. And they said this could be from loss of jobs to social isolation. I mean, these people know exactly what they're doing to humanity. And, Bill Gates on TV through a lot of this, again, who comes from a family that has a legacy of eugenics. And you have Bill Gates in his own words and what he said in his 2010 TED Talk. Listen to him in his own words. YouTube will take down your video and call it misinformation just for playing the video. It's like rolling the dice. You got 50-50 odds the video will stay up for more than 24 hours, and then if 3 months go by, they'll probably give you a strike if it's still standing. But anyway. Again, Yale 43 where Skull and Bones is. It would have been Daniel Coit Gilman's 191st birthday, the 43rd prime, the day they blew up at 403. Skull and Bones and R.C. Christian Bow 76. Alberton is the 706 area code. Again, astronomical 76. Don't forget the election of Bush number 43 came down to Florida, where his brother was the 43rd governor. And in this case, the structure was granite that got destroyed, which is interesting because it's also 43. And by the way, if you want to add to that list, in the same cipher that Florida and granite are 43, that's the same cipher eugenics is 43 in. Eugenics 43. In that same cipher, killing is 43. In that same cipher, Masonic is 43. Again, the Jesuit Masonic Skull and Bones, Illuminati Network. It's all part of the same club and network. And there is even more to this, like, the address and how that fits in with Yale and the Knights Templar, and that it's on Guidestone Road Northwest that's 322, and that the Rangers stayed on 322 wins on Wednesdays. And again, Daniel Coit Gilman, his birthday. I mean, this ritual was so perfect, and it's what we've been talking about for all these years. How when you follow this study, you can figure things out that you otherwise would not be able to figure out. You can see how news is scripted. Rituals like this are planned. It's not just some accident. It's not random. You can definitively prove how the sports are rigged and scripted with the news, as we've continued to show. I mean, this is all the stuff I've been showing for all the time I've been doing this research. And we're going to talk in a moment about how this guy died just short of his 82nd birthday in light of this opening on the 82nd day of the leap year, which means in most years, March 22nd, the day it was unveiled, is the 81st day of the year, like how he died at the end of being 81. But America's Stonehenge has Gematria 181, the 42nd prime. The structure was 42 years and months old, meaning it was in its 43rd year of existence, erected on the 82nd day of the year. And anyhow, we covered a lot of this, but yeah, that's the thing too. With regards to Georgia winning the championship and that being synced up with the Devil Went Down to Georgia song, and now that being synced up with the Georgia Guidestones, from the day that Georgia won the championship, in Indianapolis, the lone 201 city in America, from that day to this was 177 days later. And remember, this also happened 201 days after Pope Francis's birthday. Mr. 201 himself, the first Jesuit pope, the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. So the Guidestones perfectly synced up with Georgia winning the championship. And then remember, Matt Stafford, who played at Georgia, won the Super Bowl on the 44th day of the year in the Russia-Ukraine colors right before Russia-Ukraine popped off. And then the fiancée of the Rams coach, she's from Ukraine. Sean McVay's fiancée is from Ukraine. And then Golden State in the same colors. The Warriors, also from California. They get in on the ritual. Both Stafford and Steph Curry are 34 years old when they win, like Ukraine equals 34, plus Stafford became the 34th QB to win a Super Bowl, and Curry scored 34 points in Game 1 and the closeout Game 6, winning the series 4-2, when war equals 42, when World War equals 42, and that's another thing the eugenics people have used to control the population. Again, consider that eugenics, it began in the 19th century, and then the world wars came throughout the 20th century, and then the 21st century's had this ongoing conflict in the Middle East, and now Russia, Ukraine, and other things too, like Burma's ongoing civil war, and what's been going on all throughout Africa, and the stuff that they don't put in the news for us every day. But okay. Just all these little rituals that you got Ted Turner down there who runs CNN that's headquartered in Atlanta, and Ted Turner's big on eugenics. He's born on the day, leaving 42 days left in the year, from Jesuit town Cincinnati, Ohio. Cincinnati, the same team that just played the Rams in the Super Bowl and the Joe Burrow Bowl. But anyway, moving through this list, this list of information, all the things you need to look at. Again, his name, Robert Carter Cook. If you're new here, just to write this out, Gematria, alphabetic order, forwards and backwards with numerology. Robert Carter Cook, 187, 79. And by the way, they say that plot of land was bought on October 1st, 79. October 1st, 79, to erect the stones. In the U.S., we write that 10/1 like 101. Look at Robert Carter Cook when you run it in reverse with numerology. And I think his name's similar to George Washington, because if I'm not mistaken, George Washington is 187 and 245. And again, he went to George Washington University. So that's interesting. I haven't really done much with that 245 number to date, but hey, there's always more discoveries to make. And with regards to the 79, again, October 1st, 79, Robert Carter Cook. I mean, think about it, you guys. His name is 79 forwards, 101 in reverse. The land purchased to put those up on October 1st, 79, and then it comes down on the 187th day of the year. And again, to me, there's no way you could tell me this is a good sign for humanity. To me, this is like covering up the murder ritual they've had written up for over 40 years now. And they said, you know what, we left it up long enough, and we don't want too many people connecting too many dots. So, in the United States of amnesia, almost everybody alive today didn't even hear a peep about this. Pretty much the only people that are buzzing about this are the people who already know what's going on in the world. Most people who don't have a clue about anything. What? News? Georgia again? I don't normally watch. I haven't heard of those. That's where most people are. But anyway, Robert Carter Cook, 79. Knights Templar, 79. Again, that's what Skull and Bones is modeled after. Society of Jesus, 79. The new military order of the Catholic Church, who has the Templar cross in their logo, and Christianity. And notice, where you run it forwards, Robert Carter Cook, 79. All those other things are when you run it in reverse numerology. Knights Templar, 79. Society of Jesus, 79. And Christianity, 79. All in the same cipher. And keep in mind, 79 is the 22nd prime number, and this ritual comes in the year 22. And Robert Carter Cook, this is supposed to say would have turned. He would have turned 82 on April 9th, 1980. And that means the stones went up March 22nd. So the stones went up either 18 days before what would have been his birthday, or a span of 19 days. And again, the eugenics movement began in the 19th century. These stones were 19 feet tall, okay? And they were actually 19 feet 3 inches tall, which is kind of like 193, the 44th prime. Notice how Cook is 44. Notice how the word Georgia is 62 in that cipher, but 44 when you use numerology. Look at genocide. Genocide is 62, 44, and 37 in reverse, just like Georgia. Here, I'll make that bigger. And these are things we've been talking about for years. We've been focused on the Georgia Guidestones, and that they've been my countdown for me since I started this research, why things could get bad in 2024, 44 years after their establishment. And to me, the timeline is still intact despite the structure being destroyed, because the ritual seems a lot more clear at this day we're living in than when we were speculating on it, 8-9 years ago. A lot more has happened in the world. Back then, we were looking at things like how Bill Gates and Oprah Winfrey were in the good club about eugenics, and just kind of the things they were putting in front of our face with billionaires. By the way, yes, I did see Oprah's father died either at age 88 or 89, depending on which headline you read. Vernon equaled 88, Winfrey equaled 89. So either way, I suppose they had it covered. And remember, earlier this year on Oprah's birthday, another news reporter lost her father, and that was a story at the time which we covered. And also, I saw Polly Walnuts died from The Sopranos. And all those things are covered on my website, GematriaEffect.news. But anyway, coming back to this, genocide in Georgia, the exact same gematria in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. And again, Cook equals 44, just like kill. And when you think of Cook, you probably think of Chicago with Cook County and all the shootings. Cook 44, like shooting. Again, the types of things that could cause a genocide, military, major war effort. 1944, that very deadly, infamous year in World War II. D-Day in 44. But, and again, with regards to them being 42 years old and change, World War's 42, and so is war. You know what's weird about this? Do you guys remember how my book, the first page that Joe Burrows mentioned on, has the huge ritual with the Super Bowl? Somebody else made a video about it and said I had to definitely be an Illuminati for that to be possible, but it was just a synchronicity. But what's weird is the first page where I refer to the Georgia Guidestones in this book is page 102. Page 102 is where I first talk about the Georgia Guidestones in this book. And remember how big 102 is. Remember, coronavirus came out of, well, they said it was the worst pandemic since Spanish flu of 1918, 102 years earlier, before 2020. Again, from 1918 to 2020, the year the pandemic was declared, 102 years. They said Spanish flu came out of World War I. And then when they wrapped up COVID, when everyone was starting to wrap up all the COVID stuff, that was 102 weeks from the start of the pandemic being declared, and then Russia-Ukraine popped off. and that was 102 days after the Superior General's birthday, the leader of the Jesuits. And the phrase art of war equals 102, just like World War. And art of war was translated by the Jesuit priest Father Amiya. Sun Tzu, there's no proof there was ever a Sun Tzu, but the Jesuit logo is the sun. And anyhow, just the whole COVID thing with the comparison, and there were all sorts of stories written about how COVID, even before Russia-Ukraine, they were comparing it to the world wars because it was the most devastating thing for the world since the world wars, and a lot of articles like that. But then you had that perfectly synced with Russia-Ukraine, where immediately the world war rumors begin. And remember, the NFL season that had just concluded, where the Rams won, the Ram, Ares, the god of war, with the same colors like Ukraine. Again, that was the 102nd NFL season. Super Bowl 56 was the 102nd NFL season. So that ended, and then the whole 102 ritual with Russia-Ukraine popping off. And with regards to the Superior General thing, remember, it was February 22nd, 2/22. Biden came out at 2:22 p.m. Superior General equals 183 and 222, just like the Jesuit Masonic motto, order out of chaos. And then Biden addressed the nation about the spike in energy price that day and what the conflict could mean. And then 2 days later, February 24th, Russia went into Ukraine on 2/22, if you remember. And then that's the day that all the things happened in the world, energy prices, pipelines getting cut off, all these consequences from 2/22. And then 2 days later, they said the military conflict officially began. But it was all 102. And then somebody pointed out how that Call of Duty game, Warzone, it came out, oh yeah, it was right when the pandemic declared. So it was also 102 weeks before it all popped off. But again, you guys, this is what people need to understand. This is the Illuminati. The Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. And this is what they are. They are huge. They are massive. They've been building for centuries. They've been building their network. They've been building technology. Video games come into being. Of course, there's going to be an Illuminati video games company, and we see who that is. It's Ubisoft. Ubisoft making the Knights Templar Assassin's Creed series, and now they put out the Skull and Bones game by the numbers and the perfect Skull and Bones ritual. And they announced the release date one day after the Guidestones blow up in a huge Guidestones thing. Or what did I just say? The Guidestones blew up in a huge Skull and Bones thing. You know what I mean? And again, pirates, right? Thieves, conmen, killers. It comes from the Knights Templar tradition. After they were burned at the stake in France, they had to take to the seas. But yeah, just so you can see it with your own eyes, in the same cipher, eugenics, 43. Granite, 43. Masonic, 43. Killing, 43. Let me spell it lowercase so you can see that. Killing, 43. And again, even Florida. Not too far from Georgia, but just where the election came down to for number 43, since this happened on his 76th birthday. We're in that same cipher. Skull and Bones is 76, and so is R.C. Christian. And again, when this man died, he was 81, nearly 82. And March 22nd, the anniversary of the Stones, is the 81st day of the year, except for in leap years where it's the 82nd day of the year, and it did open in a leap year. And he died, this man. Where did I put it at? It's up above. He died. Okay, so there's a few ways to look at this. You could say from the day he died to what would have been his 93rd birthday was a total span of 93 days. Remember, Order of Illuminati equals 93. God's Son equals 93. Nazareth, 93. Crucifix, 93. Special number, 93. They say the sun's distance is 93 million miles away. This is an astronomical structure, so it's synced up with the sun and the stars. So anyway, a span of 93 days from his 93rd birthday. You could also say that he died at 92 days before his 93rd birthday. The 92 is interesting because remember, this guy, the whole reason for the eugenics movement was people who saw that there was too many people and it could destroy the earth that we live on. So you can look at these people and accuse them of being all sorts of things, or you can just look at as they're like scientific people who probably don't, or who don't have a lot of empathy for others, and just look at everything from a totally logical standpoint without any emotion for life. And again, these people just saw that the earth could be destroyed, so you had to maintain population. But Agenda 21 Agenda 21, which was signed off in 92 on June 13th in Rio de Janeiro, the city that equals 201, on the day leaving 201 days left in the year. Again, Order of Illuminati equals 201 and 93. Heliocentrism, the model from the 16th century about everything around the sun, that equals 201. 20193, numbers of time and the sun and the Illuminati. Look at it that way, Illuminati and the light. But Rio de Janeiro, they signed off in 92. Why not 93? Well, I think the answer for that is in Bill Gates' 2010 2010 TED Talk. Don't forget, William Henry Gates equals 201. But in 2010, Bill Gates talks about, in that TED Talk where he talks about how we need to maintain population and reduce numbers to reduce global emissions or we're going to destroy the earth. If you go back and watch that, he talks about how to reduce population. He's very clear about how to do it. Go listen. A reminder, his headquarters is directly across the street from the world's biggest needle, the Space Needle in Seattle. But in King County, where the king wears the crown and Corona means crown, and the first case of Corona in the world outside of mainland China was just coincidentally in his backyard. But in that same TED Talk, he talks about how over in Russia and Ukraine, they have all the spent nuclear energy fuel, which is uranium-92, and that's the atomic number for uranium. Uranium atomic number 92. But he talks about how, if we get that spent nuclear energy fuel, we can put that to use and we can create energy that lasts forever that will allow us to get to zero emissions carbon. And if you guys saw, Bill Gates they announced that they're about to start their experimental nuclear plant with this kind of technology in Wyoming. And remember what just happened in Wyoming on June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year? It got devastated with flooding, and weather control equals 201. And again, JFK gave a speech about weather control September 25th, 61. And then Agenda 2030 was on the anniversary of that. And there's a lot more things. In 2020, on September 25th, Jeff Bezos put out his Utopia remake on that day about billionaires depopulating the world with a virus and a vaccine. And that was just 33 days after Bill Gates' birthday, when Bill Gates equals 33, and he was the CEO of Microsoft for 33 years. And again, Bill Gates and Bezos up in Seattle, but they both started in New Mexico, alien land, before they moved up to where the Space Needle is. But anyway, Bill Gates is talking about taking that spent nuclear energy fuel, uranium atomic number 92, and saving the Earth from carbon emissions with it. And isn't it funny that his experiment now with that is starting in Wyoming, which is the 44th state in order of statehood? While Zelensky's 44 years old and the whole military thing's going on and the focus on energy and energy costs and could there be nuclear fallout? Could there be another Chernobyl over there? All of this stuff's going on in the headlines right now, and it's all part of a puzzle that's being put before us. But that's the beauty of this knowledge. You can take it and look and say, oh, they're speaking in numbers. These numbers mean something to these people. So again, uranium 92, 1992, Agenda 21, the climate change goals, which they said after Event 201 and coronavirus, the silver lining of that was it helped bring some of the Agenda 21 goals into line. And then Klaus Schwab and the Pope got behind it. And, Klaus Schwab put out the Great Reset, and less people talk about Pope Francis' encyclical Fratelli Tutti about what to do about COVID and climate change. And remember, the Guidestones just blew up 201 days after the Pope's birthday, or you could also say his 202nd day of his age, and Skull and Bones has that gematria 201 and 202. But the one other note to say is he did die in 91, and the sequence of his death, you kind of have the numbers 91, 92, and 93, and he was known for the Journal of Heredity, which also equals 91. If you write the Society of Jesus, it also equals 91, which is the 13th triangular number. And again, Illuminati, 13 families. Order of Illuminati equals 201, like the Jesuit Order equals 201, founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, who died 201 days after the anniversary of the Illuminati's establishment. And yeah, maybe go back and see what happened 10 years ago to the day of the Guidestones blowing up. Go back and look at the red and black that the band Muse was wearing in Rome doing their concert for the Pope that begins with the song Supremacy. Go back and read the lyrics to that song Supremacy, and then recognize they put out that box, the DVD box set for that concert, again on Remember the 5th of November, Guy Fawkes Day, important day to the Jesuits. But yeah, again, these people are the supremacy, and it's like they're just thumbing their nose at the world because they know they're so much more advanced than the people that they have made. Right here, as Charlotte Thompson said it, the deliberate dumbing down of America. Iserbit. Charlotte Thompson Iserbit. Anyhow. Okay. Oh, one other thing that's interesting. This man from... Okay, again, this man, Robert Carter Cook, he died on his 274th day of his age. And we were saying how Isus Hominum Salvator, the Jesuit motto, equals 274, and the Roman Catholic Church has celebrated the son's birthday since 274 AD. But if you write out 1,000 points of light, it equals 273, and George H.W. Bush was known for that speech about 1,000 points of light, which obviously has a lot to do with above us. People have all sorts of theories on what it actually means. Castle, but I mean, when I think about it, just like what a common person would think of when they think of 1,000 points of light, it'd be like, being out in the wilderness where there's not a lot of artificial light around and being able to see the sky and just how many different stars are up there. And 1,000 points of light again equals 273. And you could also say this man died 273 days after his birthday. And again, stars, astronomy, the Georgia Guidestones were astronomical in the way they were built, which equals 76. Again, they're destroyed on Bush's 76th birthday on 7/6 in a nation established in 1776. But yeah, also just recognizing more about the eugenics movement beginning in the 19th century and how important that number is, right? These people use the number 19 a lot, and it does have a lot to do with chaos and the 19-year cycle of the moon. But when I think about it, all of their agendas are evil and are all moving us towards this, really terrible place. And looking into how these... see, this is something else to think about. Looking into how these eugenics people are very much focused on population control through medicine and birth control, which is how they've done it, really, in a big way. Again, the 19th century. Remember what they just did with the Supreme Court decision that we were talking about. It was decided on the day leaving 190 days left in the year, the 19th triangular number, which means if you had 1 through 19, it equals 190. And it was Jackson versus Dobbs, and the name Jackson in Gematria equals 19. There's hardly any names that equal 19. It's really rare for a name to have that small of a number value, but Jackson equals 19. And then a week later, you get the first black female Supreme Court justice with the surname Jackson. And the decision also came a day before the anniversary of the death of Michael Jackson, who loved children. And again, and apparently, well, depends on who you talk to in more ways than one, right? But before people knew him as a bad guy, he was a guy who was really focused on making a better world for the children, right? That was kind of Michael Jackson's legacy. And then at the end, it became was he a pedophile? Was that also the other part of this? And again, for all the people who think they know all that stuff from watching TV, I'd say, again, TV wants you to see, TV wants people divided, and they want their mind occupied with things they don't need to be divided about. And I just remember a time growing up when Michael Jackson was all people could talk about, like O.J. Simpson. But anyway, 19. It relates to eugenics as well. And look at how they've made all this line up, because it's happening in the time of Cancer. Cancer's ruled by the moon. Moon's on a 19-year cycle. Every 19 years, it's in the same place in the sky it was 19 years earlier. And that's why the Jewish holidays are the exact same every 19 years, the Hebrew calendar. And it's why COVID-19 came 19 years after the 19 hijackers on 9/11, something we saw coming a mile away. But again, Cancer, the moon. The moon's a water sign. Women, pregnancy, Roe versus Wade. Water, birth, and again, Roe in the water, Wade in the water. And the way Roe is spelled, it actually relates to fish eggs, which are also in the water. So, yeah, and it was just saying how the eugenics might have been practiced in early ancient Greece. Think about how important that is to the Masons. Also, the Bible. New Testament written in Greek, the biblical rituals that they do. And you can see the countries that say participated in it, United Kingdom, United States, Canada, Australia, and other European countries. The predominantly white countries. And then you got Bill Gates always grinning on TV with his latest experiment in Africa. So what blew me away is when I was looking after I watched Rambo's video, I was like, I got to look up more about this Robert C. Cook guy. I've heard people say this theory in the past, and it really does check out. But what blew me away is reading about him when I got to the very end of his obituary article from the New York Times from back in 1991. Mr. Cook retired in 1968. Again, if you're new here, you don't get it, but I'm talking about the year 1968 all the time. And you know what? I got to pull this out. Shout out to Austin in Alabama, who sent me this in the mail. 1968 Reflections of a Special Year back in the day. And it's cool because it just has a lot of memorable things from 1968. So it makes you guess the answers, and then you have to look them up. Maybe we can play this trivia. Maybe we can play this trivia game challenge as a group at the end and see who's got the right answers. Maybe we should do one question per stream until we get through all of them. It's the way to close out with the game. But yeah, it just has like popular recipes in 1968, what cars were cool, what was going on in music, just all these fast facts from 1968. So, someday when I finish my book, I think maybe I'll go through this thing and make a new book out of it. What was really behind all this stuff in 1968. 4 men hijacked Pan Am Flight 281 from JFK. That's the 60th prime number order. Gonna have to look more into that one. Yeah, but just lots of things in here are interesting. So just clippings from old magazine and paper art. It's just funny looking at how much different things were. Basketball player with the short shorts. But yeah, this is interesting right here. Back in 1968, a senator made $30,000 per year, and the average income in the United States was $8,632. School teachers made less than that at $7,423. I remember back then, people thought when they made $10,000 they were rich, so it was a different time. But yeah, 1968, the infamous year that so many plans went into motion. And you know what's funny? You guys, I've been frustrated with myself because I should have had the book finished really at the end of last year and just kept it short and sweet like how I had it before I complicated it and then decided I made it too complicated. The good news is I have a lot of writing material that I can use in future work. But the good news is that I waited all this time is the whole focus of this book is what's being foreshadowed and why people should really wake up to the fact that there is a cabal that's manipulating us and leading us down a very dangerous path where they seem to be giving us all this entertainment, potentially foreshadowing doom and gloom. Hopefully it never happens. Maybe it's only just ever meant to be entertainment and we'll continue to be on the same conveyor belt we've been on for all of our lives, getting used and abused, but at least we get to live. And again, to me, either way, just going on with the way things are, that's not good enough for people to be. And if it does get a lot worse, people will wish that they had reacted sooner. And people should think about these things because it is the reason why people need to come together, organize, and the evil that's doing this needs to be confronted and stopped. And, if these people are serious that, like, if these people had to come out of the dark and say, listen, okay, we're going to be upfront with you. This has to happen. Otherwise, we're all going to die. And here's the definitive evidence. Like, I would listen to that, but they better have some good evidence because, what this whole gang is that's doing this to us, the climate change types, the Al Gores of the world. Again, I was a young person when Al Gore's movie came out about how if we didn't do something about climate change right then and now, the whole world was going to be destroyed. And his deadline for us, that was over a decade ago now. So again, I know that people should do a better job with consumption, but these psychopaths, again, they're the reason the world's in the shape it is anyway. So, okay. Anyhow, let's take a minute to watch Rambo's video on the subject. I'm not going to show all of it, but I want to showcase a little bit of it, and then I want to get into the part where he shows this politician who ran on tearing down the Georgia Guidestones. There was a woman this year, and by the way, this year the primary was on May 24th, the 144th day of the year. Jesuit Order 144. Again, Shinzo Abe 144. Abe spelled ABE like Honest Abe, who was shot on 14/4, a number that's persistent throughout assassinations in U.S. history and world history. Last year, the man assassinated in Haiti, the president, Jovenel Moise, his name 144. Again, from when JFK met with the Pope to his assassination, a span of 144 days. His brother dead at 1:44 a.m. 144 Jesuit Order. Don't forget the simulation for Biden to win the election was 144 days before the election, put on by Jesuit Georgetown, Transition Integrity Project, June 12, 2020, and President Biden equals 144. By the way, Herbert Hoover's birthday is getting close. But yeah, let's watch a bit of Rambo's video, and then let's get into the part about the politician who ran on taking down the Guidestones. And again, that was May 24th, 43 days before they came down at 4:03 a.m. on number 43's birthday, George W. Bush. Let me change the audio setting real quick, and then we'll jump into Rambo's video here. Again, I'm not going to share the whole video. Make sure you're subscribed to his channel, and you can definitely watch the rest of it over there. But let's watch the beginning, and then I want to come back to the 15-minute mark and watch the part on the politician. But you should definitely watch everything else in this video. This entire video is worth it. I'm just not going to show the whole thing because I want you to go to his channel and subscribe and watch it. Okay, but here we go. There's no sound here at the beginning. It's not it's some kind of glitch. I think he meant to be recording some, or maybe he didn't, but his voice will come on here in a second.
Unexpectedly, to say the least, the Georgia Guidestones came down July 6, 2022, erected by secret societies steeped in the mystery traditions. Its rise and fall were done in accordance with multiple esoteric elements, many of which I've been covering in my last 5 or 6 videos. Primary among them is the astrological phenomenon of the cardinal cross. The names and numbers associated with the cardinal cross. I've been mentioning in my recent videos names like George Bush Jr. and Sr.'s, numbers like 322 and 43. Both Skull and Bonesman 322, Bush Sr., the 43rd U.S. Vice President, Bush Jr., the 43rd President. The explosion at the Georgia Guidestones happened at 4:03, which in numerology is the same as 43. The Georgia Guidestones were officially opened on March 22nd, that's 3/22 in 1980, a date with 43 numerology. 3 plus 22 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 0 equals 43. So 43 and 322, numbers that I've spoken of in regards to the zodiacal cardinal cross that manifests in this narrative. Where else did I point out 322, 43, and the cardinal cross? In the upcoming Super Bowl 57, to be played at the home of the Cardinals on February 12th, 2023, the 43rd day of the year, leaving 322 days in the year. State Farm Stadium is the home of the Arizona Cardinals, whose biggest star, J.J. Watt, was born on 3/22, March 22nd, on the 43rd parallel. The Georgia Republican gubernatorial candidate, Candace Taylor, ran in the 2022 primaries almost exclusively on the removal of the Georgia Guidestones. She failed to gain the Republican nomination, gaining 3.4% of the vote. 3-4, a reflection of 43. The May 24th Georgia primary was 43 days before the stones came down and Candace Taylor got her wish on July 6, 2022. In her campaign ads, she highlighted the phrase satanic evil, which equals 43 in Gematria. Again, the Guidestones were demolished at 403, which is 43 in numerology. I will go into the esoteric arcane significance of the number 43 in the Western mystery tradition adhered to by the adepts who erected the monument. There's more synchronicity with my most recent video titled Birth, Resurrection, the Prince of Denmark, the 2022 World Cup, and the Cardinal Cross, where I elaborated on the ritual use of the name Christian, as in Christian Eriksen, the Danish soccer star whose heart stopped, was revived and will be an anthropomorphism of astrology-based Christian iconography at the upcoming World Cup. The Georgia Guidestones were the creation of a secret person who went by the pseudonym R.C. Christian. In English Gematria, R.C. Christian has a value of 76, like the date July 6th, on which his creation was leveled. Christian is a reference to the cross, specifically the cardinal cross of astrology, which I've been illustrating as being central to the esoteric script that determines today's events, popular culture, religion, and history. This is Rambo. These are the truth code.
By the way, something else Rambo gets into in this video is the connection with the upcoming Super Bowl, which is being hosted by the Cardinals on the 43rd day of the year, the day leaving 322 days left in the year. Again, the Guidestones come down in the big 43 ritual after being put up on 3/22. And Aaron Rodgers, the star football quarterback, he unveiled his first tattoo on his forearm that's a astrological tattoo, paying tribute to Leo. And he's not a Leo himself, but Tom Brady is. And Rambo and his thing seems to think it's the Cowboys. Dak Prescott is a Leo as well. But Rambo has a football thing in here, and he didn't get into the Aaron Rodgers piece. I'm not sure if he's aware of it, but maybe I'll touch on that too. But what I want to jump ahead to is around the 15-minute mark, he brings up the politician who ran on taking down the Guidestones. I want you to look at the visuals on this. Again, the Jesuit color code is red and black. And again, there's somebody who made a video saying, Zach's a Jesuit because his book is red and black. My book is red and black because, as I explain in the book, it's the Jesuit color code that they use in so many of their rituals, and that's why you'll see the numbers with the colors coming together so often, like we talk about all the time. And, the white stripes are a good example. There's a lot of good examples. The Muse concert, 201 days after the Pope's birthday, 10 years to the day of the Guidestones blowing up is a good example. There's a lot of them. But, okay, let's watch this.
22 days. Candace Taylor ran for the Republican nomination for the governorship on proposed legislation to remove the Guidestones, known as Executive Order 10. In Gematria, the hashtag sign has no value.
The thing about 10 is in Satanic Gematria, again, Satanic Gematria is a really interesting cipher. You just start at A is 36 instead of A is 1, B is 37, C is 38. You just count up from A is 36. And 666 is the 36th triangular number. If you write out Satanic Gematria in that cipher, it adds up to 666. But in that same cipher, 10 has a Gematria value of 144. 10 equals 144. This thing she was running on came up on the ballot on May 24th in the primary, the 144th day of the year. And again, Jesuit orders 144 as well. And, you think 10, you think 10 commandments, right? Just like how these Guidestones had 10 commandments for a new world order, which is very much connected to that Skull and Bones Bush legacy. And, I just want to make that point about 10 and 144. But let's continue.
Compare the spokesman's name, as Fox News maybe intentionally wants it to be read and heard, Kuvas, with Executive Order 10 spelled out, a virtual supermatch in the base ciphers of English Gematria. Colors are an important element of occult ritual. Notice that the person hailed as a champion for removal.
I just got to point out 213 was part of that. Remember, 213 is the 44th day of the year, February 13th. That's the day the Rams won the Super Bowl with Stafford, who went to college in Georgia after Georgia won the championship by the numbers. There's probably more to it than that, but, and don't forget LA where it was is the 213 area code. But okay, here's her bus, red, white, and black. She's in a red dress, you know, red lipstick, big red lipstick. Jesus, guns, babies. You know, very timely, right? I'm the one you've been waiting for. And it looks like something's done to those eyes because her eyes are like flashing unless somehow I got the They Live contacts in, but hold on.
Of the Guidestones, Candace Taylor consciously chose black and red, popular color combination of the Jesuit order, often seen around deaths. She announced her candidacy and campaigned wearing red and black, which are her official campaign colors. Here, a cell phone photographer is also wearing red and black, as she is, and as is a teenager who may be her son. The conscious commitment of her and the people around her to the black and red is an indication that she probably is an initiate herself in a secret society. This would suggest that an elite occult group brought down the stones, just as an elite occult group put them up. Being destroyed in Cancer, they were removed with conscious acknowledgement of the cardinal cross. And alchemy. Alchemy also states that the red philosopher's stone enables the transmutation of base material into gold or silver. This is the meaning of the ruby red slippers that Dorothy wears in The Wizard of Oz. Candace Taylor's red shoes are an alchemical esoteric symbol. Major corporations in the United States have Red Shoe Tuesday. Even popes, especially John Paul II, wore red shoes. This is alchemy, as is the 43 of Rebus. The Georgia Guidestones were erected by elite occult insiders. They were destroyed by elite occult insiders. Such are the inner machinations of secret societies. The stones were erected by R.C. Christian. The spokesman for the site is Christopher Kubas, who Fox News seemingly intentionally misspelled his name, so it coincidentally lined up perfectly in gematria with Jesus. 74 is a major Jesus number. Jesus Christ sums to 74. Messiah sums to 74. Cross equals 74. The anti-Georgia Guidestones campaign phrase of Candace Taylor, satanic evil, sums to 74. The Georgia Guidestones came down 74 days after St. George's Day. R.C. Christian bought the land in Libra, opened the monument in Aries. It was destroyed in Cancer. St. George's Cross.
And you know what's awesome about this for me? It's when I first started, for people who've been here from the beginning, when I wrote on whiteboards, I used to always say in the early days, I said, watch, somebody eventually is going to come across who gets this work, and they're going to understand astrology too, and they're going to take it to the next level. And back then I had some simple observations, so I knew there was something there. The reason I would say that, and I'd always go to the same one, and it was in the time of Cancer. I know the most about Cancer because I'm a Cancer myself, but the moon landing, again, in the time of Cancer in 69, when the astrological symbol for Cancer looks like 69, and the moon is ruled by Cancer. Or Cancer is ruled by the moon, I should say. And again, I mean, it's just so obvious, right? That's just so obvious that that's astrology. That they would do it in 69 that year. And there's been other clues, a million clues along the way. It's just I didn't know quite enough about astrology to really connect it. But then Rambo, you know, he's been here for a while now, and he just keeps... And I love how he keeps going after the cross and the meaning of the cross and where it fits in with the Templars and astrology, because he's just proven it as he just stays with it. He just stays on the topic, and he just keeps showing, see, it's all about this too. You know, and just if Rambo's out there, the one criticism I have of these videos is don't leave out the stuff that you know that I already covered, because I'm pretty sure he left out all the 76 stuff. I think you should put all that in there because it makes it more powerful, because nowhere in this video does he make the point about how Skull and Bones, which he brings up, is modeled after how the Knights Templar buried their dead in an ossuary. And here, you want to see how messed up this is? Okay, I'm going to write out Ubisoft. This is the video game company that makes the game about the Knights Templars called Assassin's Creed. And they are now, the day after these Guidestones blew up, they announced the release date and the gameplay footage of the new Skull and Bones video game. And again, Ubisoft 43. They do this the one day. Here, notice how Secret Society has the gematria of 77. It was on 7/7, the day after the things were destroyed on 7/6, that they come out and do this. And they set it for the release date for November 8th. And you see how ossuary equals 118? Like November 8th, 118. An ossuary is how the Knights Templar buried their dead, which is where the skull and bone symbolism comes from. And notice how when you write out 41, it equals 118. Remember, skull and bones equals 41. And George Herbert Walker Bush was number 41. And when you write out George Herbert Walker Bush, it's also 118. And it's 125 in reverse. And from his son's birthday to the release of the video game is 125 days. And again, just the way they bring these numbers together. Skull and bones. Again, it's 41, like H.W. Bush was number 41, member of Skull and Bones, dead on 11/30, 11 plus 30, 41, born on June 12th, the day leaving 202 days left in the year. When the Guidestones blew up, it was 201 days after the Pope's birthday, or the Pope's 202nd day of his age. And again, on 7/6, with all the 76s, including George W. Bush's 76th birthday. But, here's the other thing about the Guidestones. I forgot to say this. The Georgia Guidestones, their coordinates. You see how they're on the 34th parallel north and the 82nd meridian? Again, they were unveiled on the 82nd day of the year. Don't forget the word COVID equals 82, like how Merck put out the pill with the big 82 on the side for COVID, and it was approved by the FDA on 82 date numerology, November 30th, 2021. Yeah, it was that day. That's funny. It was the Skull and Bones Day, too. Merc. Where are they going with this? Yeah, that's not a nice word, Merc. But not only the 82nd meridian, but also the 34th parallel north. And again, Ukraine equals 34. Like we were saying about how they synced up the Super Bowl, where Stafford at age 34 became the 34th QB to win a Super Bowl, while his coach had the fiancée from Ukraine when Ukraine's 34, and they have the same colors. And the ram, again, represents Ares, the god of war. And then Steph Curry for the Warriors at age 34 wins the finals in the same colors in the same state. And again, scores 34 in game one and the last game. And then the Georgia Guidestones are down on the 34th parallel too. The word game equals 82 for the record. 82 games in a pro basketball and pro hockey season. But yeah, this right here, the Templar Cross. Templars, Skull and Bones, 322, Monument on 322, all these rituals coming together, and then having the astrology piece, understanding what this means because of what Rambo's brought to the table, and then recognizing that thing that they blew up, it was astronomical. It was synced up with the stars, which is astronomy, and then, of course, the superstition with it. Some people call it a superstition. To these people, it's their religion. Astrology. And isn't it funny? That's what I love about brainwashing, and people don't even realize that they're brainwashed. It's amazing how you can try to share this information with people, and they immediately have this, very defensive reaction, sometimes angry reaction. They don't want to know anything about any of this. They think it's all so stupid and beneath them. And these are people who watch wrestling and men in tights, bent over for Saturday and Sunday for a huge chunk of the year, but they don't have any time to listen to this. Just time for the men in the tights and God knows what else, man. The Walking Dead. But they have this, we know this common, so many people are this way, they just have this horrible reaction when you try to tell them about things like this and act like it's beneath them and so stupid and just a complete waste of time and nonsense. And it's like, no, this is what's going on in the world, man, and the stuff that you think is so stupid, this is the stuff these people are into. And it's actually, it's pretty interesting to learn about. These people are evil geniuses. But, Yeah, here, for one more thing, since Rambo does get into, you know what, I'll play a little bit of that part too. I don't want to play the whole video though. There's a lot of good stuff for the reason to go over here and subscribe and watch the video. But I think, how far up is it? I forget. Actually, I'm not going to do it. Just go watch the video. But he talks about the Super Bowl and the Cardinals and the date in light of how it perfectly goes with the Georgia Guidestones. Again, it's on the 43rd day of the year. These things blew up in a huge 43 ritual. And again, it's on the day leaving 322 days left there. They were put there 322. Let's look at what they did with Aaron Rodgers on the same day in the NFL, since Rambo sees this link with the NFL. Are these things completely unrelated, or are they part of a pattern that we've been talking about nonstop for a long time now? So there's a huge relationship with Wisconsin and Georgia. And you know what? The year of Super Bowl 51, remember what the NFC Championship was that year? It was the Packers versus the Falcons. And these cities have history. Brett Favre was drafted by the Falcons and traded to the Packers. Hank Aaron began with the Braves, who were in Milwaukee, that moved to Atlanta. Now they're the Atlanta Braves. And in Wisconsin and Georgia, you had the related shootings that most people didn't see the connection between, and the trial for both of them was going on at the same time as the World Series with Hank Aaron and the Braves. And most people didn't catch any of it, but you had Kyle Rittenhouse in the big ritual that was, with 1,201s on it, in Wisconsin. And then you had Ahmaud Arbery and Rayshard Brooks surrounding George Floyd in Georgia. And you had the Ahmaud Arbery trials and the Kyle Rittenhouse trials going on at the same time as the World Series, all synced up. We were covering all this then. We were able to call all this stuff before it happened. And it was the same number through everything, through the World Series, through Ahmaud Arbery, through Kyle Rittenhouse. It was 201, 201, 201. By the way, Aaron Charles Rodgers equals 201. And again, this tattoo was revealed 201 days after the Pope's birthday, which we'll get to. But 201 is the number of the Jesuit Illuminati network. And that's what the new book that I'm almost done with is all about. Just 201 all the way through until the last chapter, where the last chapter explains that numbers are the language to these people, and then gives short examples. So for all of you guys who've ever asked for like a list of numbers and things that go with those numbers, you'll like the end of this book, because that's what I did. I did a chronological order of the numbers and just gave you strong examples for each of those numbers. So if you wanted to show this to somebody, if there was a number that they were just blasting all over in a game, you might be able to read right from the back of this and be like, okay, here's what they do with this number. Look at this. So it's 201 through the entire book, and then the last chapter, just like a short blip on several numbers to get the feel for how there's more than just 201. Because that's, if you were new to my book and you're ready to be like, so all that matters is 201. If you had that question, you'd read the last chapter and go, oh, okay, I see. There's more to this than just 201. But he's making the point about why this number is so important to the Illuminati and why they've done all these rituals throughout history this way. And again, it all makes perfect sense when you study what this is all about, Kabbalah. And then in Hebrew Gematria, light is 201, you know? Light is 201. Illuminati in the light. The belief that God made and created and maintains the world this way. That's what Kabbalah is all about, the numbers, letters, and words thing. But anyhow, this news first broke on July 6th. It also hung around and was big news on July 7th. And again, July 6th was the day the Guidestones blew up. Look at Aaron Rodgers' tattoo here. So the first thing that stood out to me about this tattoo is, of course, the Lions, Leo. We're in the year of the tiger, just lions, tigers. But then the next thing that drew my attention was the eye with the 18 sun rays coming off it. And when I took the time to count out the sun rays and I saw there was 18, I was like, perfect, his 18th season's upcoming. And remember, in Gematria, the Jesuit logo is the sun with the letters IHS inside of it. And sun equals 18, and IHS equals 18, and so does oil, and so does gas, which are fossil fuels related to the sun, and we have an 18-cent federal tax per gallon. Again, I'm going to keep emphasizing that point over and over. But also, the sun rays are coming off the eye. Just like on the dollar bill, you have the capstone with the eye with the sun rays coming off it. That's because to the occult, the eye is or the sun is the eye of God. The word eye equals 35. Genesis 3:5 is about the eyes of God. Eye is 35. Catholics 35. Holy See's 35. The first Super Bowl ever won was by the Packers with 35 points. What's the football look like? The football's the shape of the eye, right? Like an almond. So there's a reason for all this. The eye went on the dollar bill in 1935. EYE, 5 plus 25 plus 5 using the alphabetic order. Catholic, Holy See, Jesuitism, Europe, they're all 35 when you use the alphabetic order with numerology. But, yeah, he is not a Leo. Tom Brady is. And, yeah, if you want to read more about this, please do. But remember, again, they sync up the sports. There was the ritual at the MLB this day. Georgia just had a big year for football because Georgia celebrated. You know that the state of Georgia was cheering for the Rams in the Super Bowl, obviously, because Matt Stafford was in the game. Who's the big star from Georgia? So you got Georgia and Stafford winning it. You got Hank Aaron winning it, number 44, who died on the 44 date numerology. Was that January 22nd, 2021? Yeah, that's what it was. The 22nd day of the year. Aaron 22. And again, didn't Hank Aaron die at age 86? Is that right? Do I remember that correctly? Hank Aaron, he died at 86, just shy of his 87th birthday. And again, that's the thing. He's dead on the 22nd day of the year. And in Gematria, Aaron 22 with numerology, 86, and you run it in reverse. You know. Dead on the 44 date numerology in Georgia 44 land. Out of the 50 states, so if you take this cipher right here and you write out all 50 states, you'll see that only 2 equal 44. Georgia, whoops, let me spell it right. Georgia and Wisconsin. Georgia and Wisconsin are the only 2 states that equal 44 in that cipher. And if you doubt that, I wish there was a way to, like, for all the people out there that sit and hate, I wish there was a way for them to, I don't know, like some real-time gambling thing. Who wants to bet that out of the 50 states, only those 2 equal 44? For all the people that be like, oh, he's full of shit, I'm betting 50 on full of shit, I'd be collecting a nice big fat pot right now. Because again, you can check all 50 states, those are your 2 that equal 44. When I first started, this was like the only cipher I really looked at for 90% of the research I did. And I was able to connect the news and sports back then. You know, I had USA Today writing their article about me back in 2016 when I mostly just used this cipher right here. And again, so many rituals with 44 in those 2 states. Again, shootings in Wisconsin and Georgia in that same cipher. Shooting is 44. You know, gunfire is 44. Mass shooters, 44, right? Execution, all these scary words, 44. Military, 44. Genocide, 44. You know, all these 44s. And again, Georgia Guidestones, statues about mass genocide. Why I've been talking about for all these years, why when it gets to 2024 it's concerning. Since then we have new things like the SPARS simulation for 2025. So, again, might have been right about this timeline all along. I said bad shit was coming in 2020. I said the next thing to really be worried about is when the Guidestones turn 44 years old. And we're getting close. And now they're blowing them up by the numbers. Almost like they don't want them there because it's too obvious. That's the way I feel about it, at least. For the people out there who think the destruction means like there's a... in the Illuminati, there's a fight of powers, and like maybe somebody in the Illuminati doesn't want to kill everybody, and they're getting rid of that monument because it's not going to happen anymore. I mean, I'd like to think that all that's right. You know, that's some very optimistic thinking, but it looks like these people are marching right along. You know, doing the same old, and showing us a very dangerous path forward. From the unveiling of suicide hotlines this month to all the stuff that they're saying, you know, just more pandemics coming. The economy's already really hurting from the last closures. Could it do another round of closures? I mean, and it's not just that too. It's just all the stuff they're foreshadowing with weather and climate change and disasters and how power grids could go down. I mean, there's so many people in this world who are so dependent on the modern technology, and if it was out for even a matter of days, they would probably be no longer with us. And again, I mean, if the Georgia Guidestones are serious about getting it to 500 million, there's going to have to be some drastic things that happen in the world, from World War to a million other things they could really do. And again, just syncing it up with the sports. It's kind of the way they do it, man. They got everybody distracted with the sports, don't want to know anything about anything else going on, but they're putting it all together at the same time. It's just that's why learning what we're aware of in this community, it really is mind blowing. And just to show it on the screen, because I don't think I did, I said it out loud. But Aaron Charles Rogers, you see how his name is 201 and 93, just like Order of Illuminati. You know, talking about this with the sun. The sun, 93 million miles away on average. Leo, the lion, the sun, tattoo of Leo. Just before Tom Brady's birthday. Tom Brady still 44 years old right now. Had the big better half of that ritual with the Georgia team in Super Bowl 51. The year the Falcons beat the Packers with 44 points again in the NFC Championship. The caption for the tattoo for the article was deep and meaningful. And what's funny about that is several things, actually. Deep and meaningful. His next career win will be his 151st win. And there's that 79 again. This is the day of the Guidestones thing. We were just talking about how, the man who it looks like they're in tribute to, how his name is 79, and the stones were first put up at the end of 79 after the property was bought on 10-1. Football equals 83. It's also a not so nice number. Reminds me of the song Police Murder by Numbers in 1983, where killing's the sport of the elected, but of course football's 83 as well. Death has gematria 38. Killing has gematria 38. Murder has gematria 38, 79, and 83. And you know what else? Also 34, like how those things were on the 34th parallel. So yeah, it's all very interesting. And yeah, I did cover that part. Yeah, let me see. Oh, with regards to Rogers' stats right here, I'll show you this. So in the regular season, he's on 139 wins in the regular season, and that's perfect in Green Bay. Green Bay's got that 139. They've got the big G on the helmet, like Freemasonry's 139. America's 139. But 139 wins in the regular season, but he also has 11 wins in the playoffs. So he's at 150 wins right now, right? He's at 150 career wins. Remember, he gets this tattoo 201 days after the Pope's birthday. And by the way, again, the Pope, his name is 201, just like Aaron Charles Rogers. And again, he's the first Jesuit Pope, the first to live in Suite 201. Well, notice the word Illuminati is 150, right? Remember when Alec Baldwin shot the Ukrainian woman on the set of Rust, like Russia, at 150 in the afternoon, 201 days after his birthday on the 93rd day of the year? Alec Baldwin, 150, 201, 93, all Illuminati numbers. And again, it was 93 days after the anniversary of the death of Bruce Lee on the 201st day of the year, who died while filming Game of Death. And then that movie came out in 79, Game of Death. And then Brandon Lee died on the set of The Crow, and the way his dad dies in the plot of Game of Death. But Rogers gets his first tattoo about the sun while he's on 150 career wins. And remember, the sun's 93 million miles away on average, but 150 million kilometers away on average, the measurement system the majority of the world uses. And then look at how heliocentrism is 150 and 201. Again, the model that everything goes around the sun from the 16th century. And then you got these old Georgia Guidestones, which look like something more ancient, right? And again, they're astronomical, and then they come down in this perfect ritual in Cancer, synced up with astrology. And don't forget, they took out the Hindi pillar, right? And the day before, they fired up CERN, which is in Switzerland, where the Knights Templar also fled to after they were burned at the stake in France, where the Jesuits are originally from years later. And again, just 150, 201, everything around the sun. Aaron Rodgers, astrology-based tattoo in tribute to the sun before his 18th season. And again, Sun 18. IHS, the letters in the Jesuit logo, 18. Oil, 18. Gas, 18. You know? And don't forget the whole coronavirus thing came right after Super Bowl 54 as well. Don't forget that. Because Kobe Bryant died at the beginning of it. Kobe Bean Bryant, 54. Also 81 in reverse, like his record high 81 games, where the rest of his team scored 41, and Kobe Bryant alone's 41, like how he died at 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age while traveling from Catholic Mass. But Kobe Bean Bryant, 54. Dead in L.A., which is 41 and 13. His daughter, 13. He, 41. 41 plus 13, 54. The Sunday before Super Bowl 54, the Joe Montana Bowl, the good Catholic, on a Sunday, sun worship. And, Jesuit orders also 54. But right after that Super Bowl, we had the coronavirus pandemic. And again, corona relates to the light around the sun during the time of a solar eclipse. And the day that the vaccine went live in the U.S., December 14th, that was the day of the total solar eclipse in Argentina, Pope Francis's native country. And it was the day in history that the Will Smith movie came out, I Am Legend. If you run the Gematria, the doctor's name who's responsible for the destruction of the world in the beginning of the fictional movie, the doctor's name equals 201. Look up her name, watch I Am Legend, get her name, type it in the calculator, you'll see 201. And then we won't even talk about the Sandy Hook angle on the anniversary of different shots that changed the nation. Sandy Hook. I just got to say this, though. Coronavirus 56. Remember, Sandy Hook was established in 56, and the shooting was in 2012, 56 years later, and Adam Peter Lanza equals 56. And then the coronavirus vaccine went live on the anniversary of that, and COVID vaccines 56. And Will Smith was an enemy of the state that came out 56 days after his birthday, on Joe Biden's 56th birthday, and so on and so forth. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers, he's on 150 wins with the whole Illuminati thing, right? And then his career losses, he's got 66 in the regular season and 10 in the playoffs. So he's on 76 career losses. 76. And on 7-6, he's showing off his tattoo, which is in this huge 201 ritual, the ultimate Illuminati number. And again, does that mean that Aaron Rodgers is the Illuminati and making moves? No, but what it means is Aaron Rodgers isn't that far from the Illuminati, and he's one of their favorite puppets in the world right now. That's why, he occupies a whole bunch of men's minds for all these months out of the year on the field and with all the commercials in between, where he keeps flashing the WWE belt thing, putting it right in your face about how rigged it all is. So rigged that he had to wait until he was this age. And then after everything, he supposedly has a new girlfriend who's not real popular, but supposedly into some kind of, kind of like the Giselle Good Witch stuff. Again, it's just... And then Tom Brady. Giselle's born on the 201st day of the year, July 20th. Tom Brady with all the 201 rituals in his career, including meeting Biden on the 201st day of the year as the Milwaukee Bucks win the NBA Finals the same day while he's there because of the Tampa Bay Bucks. By the way, notice how Leo, since Rodgers' tattoos of Leo, overlaps with NFL in all four ciphers. All four ciphers, including the 13. And Rodgers is 38 years old right now as well. So, and with regards to cancer being ruled by the moon, moon's got that Gematria 57. The Super Bowl is on, or it's Super Bowl 57 upcoming. That's the other piece of this, right? Moon equals 57. Super Bowl 57's upcoming. He reveals the tattoo of Leo in the time of Cancer ruled by the moon. Right, this is the other big piece of this. So I've been trying to, it's funny, in a way I'm really happy that I got to wait this long. And again, if I got to wait another 6 months to finish the book, I'd be happy then in that sense too, because I'd have even more information and make it even better. But it's really good right now. And something I was really trying to bring together through the number 19 with the relationship in the sun and the moon in the book that I'm finishing now is how in tarot, the 19th card's the sun card, and the moon, again, is on the 19-year cycle. And again, COVID-19, right? Synced up in a major way with, again, the eclipse in the Pope's country the year of the pandemic. And again, the card after 19 is the 20th card, which is Judgment in 2020, the year of the pandemic, COVID-19, the Sun, Judgment. And anyway, I was just trying to really bring that 19 thing together. Well, because of what Rogers has done here, and there's probably been examples like this all throughout history. It's just now that I'm conscious of this and looking for how they do this and bring it together. This example is really good because, again, he reveals this in Cancer, ruled by the moon. And again, it's of Leo. Leo, the sun, the 19th card in the tarot deck. The moon on the 19-month cycle. This on the date July 6th, which can be written 6-7, where 67 is the 19th prime number. So the date can be written 6-7, 67, the 19th prime. Perfect day for the sun-moon thing. Yin and yang. And with regards to yin and yang, people always think of the number 69. No, notice Illuminati has that 69, right? Remember what the Atlanta Braves did. Atlanta Braves... Or it's Atlanta alone, excuse me. Atlanta alone is 69. And you see how World Series has gematria of 69 as well as 57? When the Astros just lost the World Series to the Braves, they picked up their 69th postseason loss all time, losing that World Series. And when they lost to the Nationals in the World Series, they picked up their 57th loss all time. And where World Series is 57, so is Nationals. And again, this is how you can see how these ciphers are used. This is why sports is one of the best proofs of the relevance of this code from all the people who win on futures, who've taken the advice off this knowledge, showing these patterns and projecting well before it happens. And again, you'll see it day after day with sports and news, how the multiple ciphers come together. Like when the Nationals won the World Series, it was also 138 days after Donald Trump's birthday, and Donald Trump's 138, and the last time that team was in the World Series was in 1933. And there was a big 105 thing, but honestly, I forget what it was right now. At the time, it was like the most obvious part of the ritual. It's funny. Right now, I just can't remember what it was. Anyway, sports, news, ritual. Here's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about all the people who spend a lot of their time trying to figure out what's going on in the world, who still haven't had the luck to cross the gematria path because of the vast amounts of censorship and all the channels being deleted. And, a great chance where maybe we could have reached millions of people in a single evening was right after Super Bowl 55. If you guys were part of that live stream before YouTube cut it off, and then I couldn't even get online for the next 2 weeks. Or not 2 weeks, but the next 48 hours. I could not even get online. My internet was all messed up. But that live stream had over 5,000 people in it and climbing, and it was just climbing fast. We were talking about how rigged Super Bowl 55 was. And a lot of people were really tuned into that one because it's the Super Bowl, and we'd said why before the season began, why it was going to be Brady over the Chiefs. And we've been talking about all year. So that stream, the word got out. Tons of people were getting on the stream. And then just everything shut down. Just like all the big channels that have been deleted, all the viral videos that have been deleted. They don't want this out there, so still, there's millions of people in the world who probably would have found this work if it wasn't for the censorship who hadn't. But I just want you to imagine those people that are out there, they're looking for answers, they're watching people's videos on the Georgia Guidestones, and they're not seeing anywhere in this truth community, nobody's talking about gematria, nobody's showing the greater links between sports and news, and the definitive proof year after year. And these same people, they're going to go back, after this goes by through their brain, because it's out of the cycle a month from now, and football's cooking up. They're truth seekers, but they're football fans. They're going to be going out and buying the newest Aaron Rodgers jersey, getting the ticket for the one game they want to see this year. And it's frustrating because you guys, we're not going to shut this stuff down until we stop participating in it too. It's that is the point of this work, to get people to see why you shouldn't be going to the game. You shouldn't be voting in the rigged selection, but instead on selection day, you should be out in your community making noise about why it's all rigged and why we need to stop validating the lie and how this system's bought and paid for and we're all getting manipulated and made fun of. And again, this thing's a perfect example, you guys. This is a perfect example how in the surveillance footage, they've cut the section where the person's car pulls up and all they show is the top of the car driving away. Okay. It's just Unless that's what Illuminati is, right? The Illuminati, they can maneuver it all. They can hack in. They're the ultimate hackers. I mean, and I guess the way to make sense, Anonymous, the hacking thing, wears the Guy Fawkes mask. Guy Fawkes was a Jesuit. Facebook, with all of its Jesuit rituals, its address is one hacker away. And it reminds me, when I got hacked on the Ides of March in, what year was that? 2017. It was 2017. It was 3 months before the channel got deleted all the way for the first time. The Ides of March 2017, every single online account I had got hacked, but the first one I noticed that was hacked, and I do believe it was the first one that was hacked out of all of them, was my Facebook account. And it was sometime later that I realized Facebook's headquarters was on one hacker way. And I was like, what in the world, man? If I got hacked by... Because I was like, who could do this? I can't even remember all my passwords for all my different online logins. They hacked all my accounts, so they had to use more than one password. And all on the Ides of March. Roman. But anyway. Isn't it amazing how it all comes together? And again, just... And with regards to Aaron Rodgers, he got tutored by Brett Favre. Brett Favre drafted by Atlanta, traded to the Packers. Again, Hank Aaron. And again, all these major sports leagues, all credited these sports, American football, baseball, basketball, they're all credited to men who are in secret societies. Secret societies in the nation's capital. Secrets all over the place. We're just so used to secrets. All right, hold on. Okay, DK Stonewood, I'll take your call in a minute. D26 is also calling in. I didn't want to go too long tonight. Oh, D26, what do you got for us this evening? Hold on.
Good evening.
Hold on, actually. Let me change the audio setting here.
All right.
Okay, what's up, D26?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'll be quick, very quick, because I'm having my breakfast right now. I have to rush. So, first point, if you could take a little time, like few minutes, to check out my recent posts on Twitter. What I'm going to do in the couple of days is I'm going to accumulate all the tweets that I made about the recent connection with the Georgia Guidestones, the possible date of 10th of August, because I had a different approach. Before talking to you, I didn't know that was Hubbard Hoover's birthday, so I'm going to dig deeper into that. I did find some interesting numbers when it comes to Herbert Hoover, Kamala Harris, and the 10th of August, the date, or 108, because that is an important number. I also made the point regarding the silver sedan that was seen at the site during the explosion at Georgia Guidestones. And I talked to you before probably that silver has an atomic value of 108, and it represents the moon, and the moon is 1,080 miles in radius. I have made all these points in my recent tweets, so if you could check that out. And the other thing is, Kamala Harris, she went to Howard University, not to be confused with Harvard. It's Howard University in Washington, D.C., and that is a 201. So I just found these things like last night. I also texted you on WhatsApp. And in case others did not know, most people have not seen my tweet, the one with the author of the Georgia Guidestones being R.C. Kristen, a pseudonym, where the pseudonym is intentionally misspelled because the entire phrase happens to be an anagram for untarnished conspiracy. I just had these 3 points to make it really quick, and hopefully, as I get the time.
How far back is your tweet? How far back is your tweet?
Just like the last couple of days, maybe. Since Saturday, since last we talked, I guess.
Okay, there's a lot of tweets. I've been scrolling back for a while. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, maybe those would be retweets. If you could probably check out the tweets and replies, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, because there's a lot of retweets, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So
it is there. It is there. I found it. You just have to scroll back quite a ways.
Yeah. It's regarding the 108 poses of the Nataraj idol, and keep that in mind. If Rambo is listening to this, I have a question, by the way. Is Rambo on Twitter by any chance?
I'm not sure if he's on Twitter. I'd leave him. He'll respond to your comment if you leave it on his YouTube video.
Oh, All right, I'll check that out on the Truth Decodes. So, well, if you didn't know that Shiva, the idol, actually the idol is of Nataraj, which is Shiva depicted as the Lord of Dance. But Shiva, in his own form, in his true form, holds a trident. If that connects to anything, maybe that would be interesting to find out.
That makes a lot of sense with the trident. That goes right with the trident. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And did I make? I did. Okay, I'm very sure I did not make the point when I last called you that the idol at the CERN facility and the compound, below the idol, the inscription, they have the 56th verse of a devotional hymn that is in Hinduism related to the idol. It's the 56th verse. You can see that if you can go to the website, if you can go to Wikipedia website and just write the Nataraj, that's it, the idol. Under the subsection of CERN, you will find a high resolution photo of the idol where you can zoom in and read the entire verse both in Sanskrit and in English, and you will find that it is a 56th verse.
Okay.
And a devotional hymn equals 201. That is the description according to Wikipedia. So yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I guess I would be that would be all. I wouldn't extend, but yeah, that's it. Thanks for picking up my call, and great stream as always. I was just looking, you were rewatching. You were just showing the video of Rambo's videos, probably.
Yeah, that was.
So yeah, I'll just check that because even I'm working on the video. So hopefully next week I'm going to get a small vacation. I'm planning to be done with all my editing of the previous videos. So hopefully I'll be out with my videos as well.
Okay. Well, I look forward to it.
Yep. And thanks for picking up the call. Okay. Great stream as always.
All right. Thanks, D26. Have a good one.
Yep. Take care.
All right. And remember, D26 has a channel of his own as well. All right. Hold on. Big Al's trying to get in here, and so is DK. Al says he's got something real quick, and then we'll go to DK. He probably has more to say.
Hey, Zach.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Hey, so you're live still, correct?
Uh-huh.
So, I don't know, I caught one of these TikTok links today. Someone sent it to me, and it's really interesting, man. It's, the whole thing's quite telling, even towards the very end, you know?
Sure. What's on it?
Well, okay, do you know much about, have you heard any buzz about a bunch of military U.S. troops being sent to Ukraine?
Not yet.
Well, what this thing claims is, and it's, of course it says, you know, mainstream's not covering any of it, but they're saying that 300,000 U.S. troops have already been deployed to Ukraine.
Really?
Yes. And then on this same video, it speaks of, you know, how there's going to be food shortages, you know, because the guy talks about, you know, all these food processing plants, like 100 of them have been burnt down in the United States. And then it goes on to talk about Pentecost, you know, like that Christian holiday.
Right. And Pentecost Sunday was the day of that mass church shooting in Africa.
Interesting.
It was at St. Francis. They said like 50 people were shot to death. And Pentecost Sunday equals 201.
Isn't 50's funny because isn't Pentecost like the 50th day of what is it?
That's what it was. Yeah, they said 50 shot.
Something?
Exactly. That's why we were like, come on Pentecost with the 50 exactly. And you think about Pentagon, a 5-sided War Department.
So he goes on to say that, you know how these Jewish holidays, you know how they change all the time, right?
Yeah, based on where the moon is. Every 19 years, they're the exact same day.
Right. So you're just going in at all the 19. So all this just makes so much sense, Zach, to what's going on. You know, going back to, you know, is it in Acts 7:6, and you've been talking about this, you know, the 400 years of slavery stuff, and then in 7:7, the nation's punished.
Right.
Well, this guy says that, okay, so Jews also, they what is it for Jews though? I got to look it up, man, because this is where.
While you're looking it up, I checked something out to see what would come up. It says on February 2nd, the 82nd Airborne Division and the 18th Airborne Corps were sent to Europe on the 33rd day of the year. That 82nd stands out to me in light of the Guidestones opening on the 82nd day of the year, and then the 82 and the one guy's death ritual, and then 18 is also interesting because that guy died 18 days before his birthday, the sun number. There must be something more to 82 than I know. So, did you find what you were looking for?
Yeah, I'm popping it up now. Okay. So Jews celebrate this day. It's called Shavuot. It's Shavuot. You probably want to put the gematria in there because that's where I think we're seeing something that's more telling about this. And I can't find this anywhere, so I don't know if somebody else can verify that this is true or not. But this was supposed to be celebrated, I think, on June 5th, right? But this guy's saying that they made it go out a month further than normal, right? And they celebrated it on this 7-6 day. Look at the gematria of that word.
Let's see.
So for Christians, it's Pentecost, but for Jews, it's this, I don't know what it is, some type of festival or something called Shavuot. Shavu, U as an umbrella.
Well, if this is true, the 106, all that jumps out, because 106 is how many days after March 22nd it was when it happened. March 22nd, the establishment date to the demolition date was 106 days later. And then 25 is what I was talking about with the devil went down to Georgia and all the rituals they've been doing with that number. But 25 and 38 are death and 83 and 38 is murder. Is that what you were seeing in it?
Maybe I'm not seeing the same. Maybe I did not do it right. Shavuot. What? Let me check now, man. Maybe
there might be more than one way to spell it. Sometimes that's the way it is with these words.
Yeah, maybe I screwed up. I swear to God, unless there was another way to spell it, because the thing that I saw, it had World War numbers. It was in both ciphers. It had 114 and 102.
There could be another way to spell it. I mean, sometimes that is the way
they did it. And they did it on this date. Why would they have moved it to this 7-6 date? But we already know why. If that's freaking true that they moved this holiday to that day, man.
Well, that's what we got to find out if it's true. Because, yeah, it looks like it was supposed to go June 4th through June 6th.
Well, you know what? Shavuot or Shavuos and Ashkenazi usage, of course. Ashkenazi usage. Let me see if that's the way it was. I bet you it was. No? No, I guess not. Unless there's a third way and I'm missing it.
So in the Hebrew calendar, the way it's worded is it says every year the holiday of, I'm not even sure exactly how you pronounce it, Shavuot or Shavat or whatever it is, takes place on the 6th and 7th day of the Hebrew month of Sivan, which sounds like 7. So it just every year it would have that same number sequence in it, the 6-7 thing. And again, just 67, the 19th prime, going with the 19-foot tall stones on that date. So
yeah, the moon calendar and everything, and it's like they're telling you something with the calendar that they're doing something different, right?
Right.
Like it's a big deal. They're making a big deal out of this 19-year thing. So
right, and again, finding out that the eugenics thing began in the 19th century, and then this guy died a span of 19 days from his birthday, and COVID-19, and they keep it's like, why doesn't anyone question why they still call it COVID-19? There was a new dominant strain in 2020, a new dominant in 21, a new dominant in 22. Why haven't they been called COVID-20, COVID-21, COVID-22? They're just sticking with the COVID-19 while there's 19 cops standing down for 19 dead children in Uvalde. So
yeah, it's obvious, man. We know what's up.
But yeah, I think the 6-7 thing always applies to that holiday. So
okay,
that is interesting. I'll look more into that.
Moving it then. Yeah. Awesome, man.
All right, appreciate it, Al.
All right, you take care now.
Thanks, man.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's interesting. I don't know anyone in the I hardly know anyone anymore, but Yeah, if anyone knows anyone in the military and they've heard about people being deployed, that's interesting. I hadn't heard anything about that. So here, DK Stonewood was also trying to call in and get his thoughts on the matter. But again, I'd encourage people while you still can, if you do want to watch something, look into the show Utopia that Amazon remade and just look at what's in that show. DK Stonewood, what's up?
Hey Zach, how's it going?
It's going all right. How are you?
Pretty good. I don't know how that worked out right now. I was in the middle of Big Al's call said live, and then all of a sudden you were calling me. So, I had a couple observations. Hopefully I didn't forget most of it, which probably I did while you were talking. Did you see the D26 was talking about that Shiva thing? Did you see on that it's actually Shiva stepping on the head of a baby in that representation?
The one at CERN?
It's the representation of Shiva as the Lord of the dance rather than the destroyer, but it's stepping on a baby's head and some other stuff in that photo.
Really?
Or in that whatever you want to call it. I forgot what he called it, in the mural or whatever.
Or maybe instead of a baby, just like a small child.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're looking at it right now?
See, you know what? Remember how the Georgia... I got to pull up the pictures from the Denver airport, too, because weren't people wearing masks in those pictures? And I remember there being kids in those things that used to be painted on the wall. They got rid of that. Now they're getting rid of this thing. Next thing you know, they'll be getting rid of that thing. Go ahead.
And then, God, I forgot probably most of what I wanted to say. So, one thing, okay, if we look at, like, the Georgia Guidestones, like, picture you're, like, you got a drone and you're looking at it from like straight above. It's like it's a cross with a box on it, so it's like an X and a box, so X box, just like the you look at like the flag, the British flag, it's an X inside of a box. And then I can't remember, is it the Maltese cross? Which cross is it that has the box inside of, like, on the inside of it?
I don't know my symbolism as well as I know my numbers. I'm not sure.
Yeah, one of the crosses, I'm sure you've seen it before too. It looks very similar to that Knights Templar cross and the Maltese cross. It has a square like inside of its center. And then I was thinking, I was listening, so I couldn't go on Google Earth. I was going to go on Google Earth and Google Maps and look at which sides, it's like four legs or whatever, kind of like a cross or an X. Which way is it facing? Is it facing perfectly north, south, east, west, like the pyramids? Or because this is how, like, when you go to like Machu Picchu and like Ollantaytambo and all these ancient sites, even in Egypt and in South America, wherever, they all have like a center like section where or a main spot where it's like an altar or whatever where you stand. And when you stand in that spot, like there's a part in the mountain that dips down perfectly. So like the summer solstice, the sun will be right in that spot. Then on the equinox, like they have it all marked out. And even spots on the ground, they have like chiseled into the ground where the sun's going to hit on certain dates. So I was thinking maybe it's some type of maybe even like a sundial or something like that. And
Shiva equals 76 to go with the whole 7-6 thing and the Hindi pillar being taken down. And then the other thing about Shiva is it equals 59 the other way, and Sri Lanka equals 59, and Sri Lanka has a big Hindu population. And on the 59th day of the Prime Minister's age, his house got burned down, which was also 59 weeks after the Ignatian year began. And the Cardinal of Sri Lanka, who's right there with the Pope, his name is 59 as well. So this Shiva thing from CERN to, I think also what they did in South Dakota with the green skies, if you saw that, down to the Guidestones, to the thing with Aaron Rodgers for the Green Bay Packers, and then out to Sri Lanka. This is like all like a series of dominoes. And I don't know if somewhere the assassination would fit in with Shinzo Abe. Again, it's all connected to the sun, and Japan's flag is the rising sun. It's like in one of the first time zones, Japan. But
that was on 4:03 a.m. on 7/7 or 7/6.
4:03 a.m. on 7/6, and Shiva equals 76. CERN got fired up the day before on July 5th, 7.5, and Hadron Collider 75, like New World Order, like Catholic Church, like the word order itself. And again, it's that new... Go ahead.
What about 4:03 in daylight savings time? So we're really at 3:03, so it'll be 33, right?
Yeah, I suppose that's true. But they're going for that 4:03 thing because they had that whole ritual synced up. So
too many other 4:3.
You saw how you heard what I said about Daniel Quake Gilman and the guy Robert Clark Cook from Maryland. You heard about all that, right? And the Orioles getting the 403rd win.
The Robert Clark Cook guy is actually Christian Rosenkreutz or whatever that they're saying.
RC Christian, yeah.
Oh, man, you know what? This one thing that I thought I was going to forget for sure. So yesterday at the gym, on the TV, they have the celebrity golf tournament, and they made a point to show that Charles Barkley made the top 70. People who know Charles Barkley has like the worst golf swing of all time. And Aaron Rodgers threw a pass to Curry, and Curry caught it. And that was the ESPN news that was the footage for it. I mean, they showed like who's where in the rankings, but as far as the video, all they showed was Barkley and then Aaron Rodgers throwing that pass to Curry. So I was wondering if that has anything to do with this next season of football coming up.
I'm sure it does. That Philadelphia Bay Area connection, again, for people who don't know, the Warriors started out in Philadelphia and so did the Oakland Athletics. So interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna look when I have time. I'm gonna go look on Google Earth and see what if the X of the cross on that on the Guidestones is actually like facing the cardinal points, or what exactly is going on that thing. Because I've heard a lot of stuff that it was some type of Stargate and blah blah blah. That's why they attacked it, because they no longer had control over the Stargate or something. I don't know. And then one thing I forgot to talk about the other day, which I think was really interesting. I don't know if you've ever heard this. Let me look. Hopefully I didn't delete that. Okay, perfect. I didn't. Okay, so this is for that guy, the 13 moon guy. So as I was doing some research on the Mayan day out of time, which the Mayans have, July 25th is referred to as the Mayan day out of time. 26 is considered the galactic Mayan New Year, and it fits in with the 13-month calendar of 28 days with one day left over, hence the day out of time. But then it says, note, the moon cycle is either 29.5 days for a full moon to full moon or new moon to new moon phase to return, or 27.3 days for the moon to return to specific star. The moon does not have a 28-day cycle, and there are usually only 12 full moons in a year, but the moon will pass a star 13 times each year. So everything's based on, the sun or the stars. So the 13 moon calendar actually comes from it going through the zodiacal wheel, not geocentric, but like heliocentric. So geocentric is the 12 moon, and like heliocentric would be the 13 moon. I just thought that was kind of interesting because we've always been tossing that back and forth.
The guy who the stones were likely built after, he died 273 days after his birthday, kind of like 27.3. And I think I forgot to mention that the stones fell down on a date with 19 numerology, 19 feet tall, the moon, the 19-year cycle. So.
Yep. All of the numbers on it are lining up.
Again, Cancer, ruled by the moon.
And the moon controls the tides and all the water and all that. So yeah, everything lined up on this one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think that was all. I think I remembered everything I wanted to say from what you were talking about earlier.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Talk soon.
Bye. Yeah. Take care. Okay, so yeah, again, I just want to make this point clear. Again, CERN does their big ritual July 5th. July 6th, the Guidestones, they get hit with the explosive. The Hindi pillar gets knocked out. CERN has the Hindu statue. Then you have chaos in Sri Lanka, where one of the world's largest Hindu populations is. And lo and behold, Shiva is 76 in Gematria, like how the Guidestones with the Hindi part went down on 7-6. And then, we just talked about this yesterday with Sri Lanka. On the 59th day of the Prime Minister's age, or not his age, the 59th day of his term. His term began May 12th, 2012, and then July 9th. It's interesting, 7-9 too, because remember the Guidestones, the property was bought on 10-1. And with regards to population control, like in the West, whenever we've seen these shows on population, over the years, if you grow up watching TV, there was a time where if you ever went to the Learning Channel or public access channel, one of these shows like this, there'll be like something on, the dangers of overpopulation. We've seen these things on TV before, and so often they focus on the same places. India, China, where the population's really dense, right? And, Sri Lanka is just right off the coast of India. But yeah, again, the 59th day of the Prime Minister's term, 59 weeks after the Ignatian year began. That's the Jesuit thing that began May 20th, 2021, and ends on the last day of this month, the day in history Ignatius of Loyola died. But it's 59 weeks after the Ignatian year began. 59th day of the Prime Minister's term, Shiva 59, Sri Lanka 59. So, New World Order, right? And again, look at it. Hadron Collider fires up on 7-5, right? Just to make sure this is crystal clear. On 7-5, the Hadron Collider fires up, which is where the Shiva statue is. And again, 7-5 like July 5th. If you write out New World Order, it's 75. Remember October 6th, 1940, a date with 75 numerology. The New York Times headline that day said, New World Order pledged to Jews. Here. There's always a new person here who's not going to believe it if I don't show it. Here we go. October 6th, 1940, New York Times. New World Order pledged to Jews. Date was 75 numerology. This is an old post. Posted from 2018. I'm talking about the same stuff a million times over and over. New World Order, 75, like order out of chaos, like order itself is 75, like Catholic Church is 75. And, you know what? I'll make another point about this, actually. You see how prophecy equals 106, and the article was on 10-6? From March 22nd, the anniversary for the Guidestones to their destruction was 106 days later. And again, just this pattern with prophecy and self-fulfilling prophecy and things being laid out years in advance that come to fruition. We've been talking about this for a long time. So the Georgia Guidestones could be the latest thing, and we could be really close to maybe rule number 1 on there, having a lot less people on Earth, which could be you and I. And honestly, it's not that I'm, at this point in the game, just seeing things for what they are, it's not that I'm afraid of dying. What I'm afraid of happening is that I do die, and these people, no one ever touched a hair on their head. They're still just cruising on cruise control, and even the people who saw them didn't get to them. That's a maddening thought. But anyway, Israel was recognized by the United Nations, which the leader of the United Nations right now, his name equals 201, but it was done on a date with 106 numerology. And, there's a lot more to say about all this, but the point is, rituals, New World Order, from CERN in Switzerland, Knights Templar land, to the Skull and Bones joke down in Georgia, a little further south of Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones modeled after the Knights Templar. Knights Templar fled to Switzerland after destroyed in France, where the Jesuits were then created years later, who now have the Templar cross in their logo, and were in the time of the first Jesuit Pope and all these nice rituals. Again, July 5th, the day that CERN fired up, was the 201st day of the Pope's age. July 6th was 201 days after the Pope's birthday, also his 202nd day of his age. And Skull and Bones has Gematria 202 and also 201 in the Francis Bacon cipher. Again, the Paul Walker movie about the skulls, Skull and Bones, came out 201 days after his birthday. But again, Paul Walker gets a red Porsche in that movie, and then he dies in a weird way in a red Porsche on November 30th, 5 years to the day of the death of George H.W. Bush. And that movie, The Skulls, came out right before his son, George W. Bush, became president. In the year his son was elected, number 43. But anyway, this is it, you guys. And we're talking about the Bush family, right? The same Bush family that would talk about the New World Order. George H.W. Bush, September 11th, 1990, 11 years to the day of 9/11, when 2 towers became 0 before becoming 1. He gave a speech about a new world order, a world freer of terrorism. And again, you write out the Jesuit order, it has that 201 in it, also has 177. And New World Order, it's got the 177 and 69 like the Jesuit order. And also the 75, like how the dominoes started on 7-5. And I'm pretty sure the Shinzo Abe thing fit in, because Shinzo Abe, he was killed 200, reportedly. If you got... Here, you know what? Since I just brought that up, shout out to Joey. Joey found this footage of... By the way, if you guys have not seen the latest tinfoil hat interview with Sam Tripoli, we just did that recently. It's up on all streaming platforms. He's got it up on his channel, samtripoli.com. But check this out. This is the footage. This guy comes out.
Is the gunman too early?
Yeah, so there's something more to be researched here, because I can't make out everything from that footage, but it's like, is he backing back up before... Because there's not chaos. You don't see people start running yet. You know what I mean? Nobody's running. If shots are fired, you think that's going to make people run. He's able to go in and back up, and there's not really a reaction in the crowd yet. So it's like, okay. We're showing how this whole thing's by the numbers. Again, if you missed my work on Shinzo Abe's death, go back and check that out. But it's a clear Jesuit ritual. We were talking about how it happened 277 days after the current prime ministers taking office, which is the 59th prime number. And, or it might have been 277 days after his birthday. It's one of the two, but that's the 59th prime. And again, it happened 59 weeks after the Ignatian year began. And the word kill is 59 in Jewish gematria, but John F. Kennedy's 59, who was killed while riding in a Lincoln, and there's all the parallels with JFK and Abraham Lincoln, and Abraham Lincoln equals 84, and again, this assassination came 84 days after the anniversary of the death of Lincoln, and Jesuit equals 84, so does Superior General. Remember when the Superior General of Japan, Adolfo Nicholas, died at age 84 in Japan, May 20th, 2020, the day leaving 225 days left in the year, and Adolfo Nicholas is 225. Again, all of these rituals with all these nations, New World Order, Jesuit Order, and here, let me see something. I don't think Hinduism's a big population in Japan, but let me check that. What percentage of the population is Hindu in Japan? And again, don't let this be the definitive answer, but less than 1%. Yeah, an insignificant amount. So it's not a big population there. It's big in places like Sri Lanka and India. And that's where a lot of the world attention is right now, with the chaos in Sri Lanka. And also, I mean, pretty big deal that the former prime minister got assassinated too. But all of this stuff is perfect ritual, like we've been talking about. And Shinzo Abe, he got shot on 7/8, right? Jesuit. Has that gematria of 78 and 84. 84 days after the anniversary of Abe Lincoln's death on 7/8. Same stuff over and over. Twitter. Elon Musk makes the purchase offer on the 115th day of the year, April 25th, and then wants to get out of the deal 74 days later on July 8th. And again, Tesla 78, Jesuit 78. Elon Musk declared the richest man in the world on the 78-year anniversary of the death of Nikola Tesla. And remember, they said he was worth $191 billion that day, and he passed Bezos, who's worth $187 billion. Society of Jesus. That's the Jesuit order. It's all the same network, different terms for the same thing. And again, I'm starting to think as time goes on that they made up these alternate names for themselves to work out more number magic the way they do. Because you always see how their numbers are coming together in their rituals. But yeah, here, watch this again. Maybe I need to make it bigger. Okay, this guy's coming in and then going back out. This guy like shoos him back.
Gunman too early.
Yeah, so, I mean, so what's going on there? Because the shots aren't ringing out. This guy's like, I mean, if you're there to protect the prime minister and a dude's coming with a gun, all you're gonna do is just shoo him back. Something is so wrong with this. But the problem with this day and age online is there's so many, what do they call it, deep fakes? That's what I hate about this world, and that's how they've got us. Because now people, they just won't be able to decipher what's real and what's not unless they have really good intuition and instincts. And I think those are few and far in between. And I think that's part of the problem with, some work not reaching the audience it should. It's just like so many people just get, they get caught up in all the BS and they think they found the truth and then they never even make it there. But yeah, I see a couple people chipped in with super chats. Let me say thank you real quick, and then we call it a stream. Sorry, this is kind of like an abbreviated Sunday show. I just didn't want it to be so long. And yeah, anyhow, let me say thank you to these people. Anthony630 chipped in $2. I appreciate it. Spelling Games chipped in $5. Said support the work. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And Drew Star chipped in 99 cents. I do appreciate the donations. And again, I hope I articulated the information clearly enough. Again, make sure to subscribe to Rambo at the Truth Codes and all the other people in the community doing the good work. Kayla Decode Talker, Chigozy Truth, Mr. Futures, all the people doing good work out there. Gematria32 doing a lot of nice short clips, which I appreciate. Jared Bailey vs. the World's doing some content. So is Richard Quinn. So I know there's a lot of names I'm forgetting right now. But For Patrick, who says we may have a plan to stop a ritual long in the making, I 100% agree. That's the reason that I get on here and do this every day. I mean, even though it doesn't look good, shout out to Eloy Garcia on the Cash App with 5 and Mike Swanson, with a big fat 50. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm glad you thought it was great. I wasn't sure if I did the best job, but again, you guys, I am so tired right now too, man, because just like writing and keeping up with everything, I got to admit, I am grinded right now. I will hit the finish button on this book very soon, and it will be the greatest relief. But yeah, so before I do finish the book, I just want to say thank you to everyone in the community who ever brought any research forward who helped advance the work. There's a lot of people in this community, and that's why so often when I'm talking, like I listen to myself in the interview with Sam Tripoli, and I notice I say like we a lot for accomplishments. And again, because it really is that. I mean, I do spearhead a lot of the work, but I know that the work wouldn't be nearly as good as it is if it hadn't been for all the people over the years who made meaningful contributions, and that's been a lot of people. And Rambo's one of those great people who's really helped bring in the astrology piece. And it's a great piece because the reality about this world is more people are into astrology than numerology. And that is a market of people. I don't want to say market. That's like business terminology. But that's a group of people who might be really receptive to this work if it was introduced to them through that mechanism, through the mechanism of astrology where the numerology fits in, how it all syncs up with the calendar and the language. And essentially that's what we're teaching, but as I get better with astrology, as I learn more and more from the Rambos of the world and the Samiyas who brought me the astrology information, which I'm trying to absorb, the other type of astrology, there's two very competitive versions of astrology. They're both interesting, but anyway, as I learn more about astrology, I see in future works a lot more astrology attention in my books. Because while I have touched on it in the books, we talked about George Floyd and the Twin Cities in the time of Gemini in the last book. Of course, in the first book, made a big deal about the moon landing in the time of Cancer and a few other things. And now I'm thinking about, I was mostly neglectful of astrology in this short book because it's short and I was neglectful of a lot of things. But just, again, the new book is just short and potent and just meant to keep you turning the pages and going, wow, okay, just like this makes a lot of sense. I need to learn more about this. And then go out and learn about it, right? Find my channel, find Rambo's channel, find everybody doing the work. By the way, make sure you're subscribed to Rambo the Truth Codes. But go out and say, wow, I'm hoping this short book finds people's hands and makes them go, okay, I need to learn more about Gematria. I'm going to go out and figure out more about Gematria. It's the starter book that gets them hooked, that makes them realize there's something there. And it's not too much of a time investment to realize how potent and powerful the information is. So anyway, it's almost there. And again, thank you guys for donating. Very generous. And sorry if more people wanted me to do the actual Sunday night show. Again, we will get back to that, but I'm going to stay more on the grind. Like even when I finish right now, I'm going to go back. I need a little writing break, but now I'm done with the writing break. I'm going to go back to trying to finish what's not finished yet, and it is close, and I just can't wait to hit that finish button. But anyway, thank you again to all the people who've been patient and supported the work and contributed to the work, because I think this book, it's going to make, I think it's going to make a difference. So, and if we could just get some other people out there to help talk about the work too, that would make a tremendous difference. But maybe a book like this will make that happen. So, anyhow, back to the task at hand. Thank you for everyone who tuned in. And thank you to the people who also chop these videos into smaller segments and re-upload them. Sometimes people see like a 3-minute segment that they really liked and they just re-upload that on their channel. I appreciate that. That helps get out the word. All right, True Seeker, have a good night. And if you're in the other part of the world, have a good day. And until next time.